Hey Steph, it's Friday. So my topic today, I wanted to talk about a few things that always kind of bothered me. Uh, they're things that people sort of give a pass to, and I don't really know why, because I always get really outraged by them. But it seems like complaining too much about them seems like a first world problem. So here goes. First up is internet outages. When your internet goes out, that sucks. Like, that really sucks. It's something you're paying for, and it just doesn't work. And there's really no recourse. You can call your internet provider, but they'll tell you the internet's down. There was a period or a time last year when Fido's phone service went down for an entire 24-hour period. Lots of people weren't able to, it didn't completely go down, but lots of people weren't able to access text messages. They weren't able to make calls or access data, that kind of thing. And Fido gave everybody a day refund, like a 1/30th of their bill refund, everybody. Every other internet company, they don't do that. Or phone company, they don't do that. If your internet goes out, it's just, that's too bad. Check back again, maybe it'll be fixed. I don't think that's really a good policy, and I hope that people start holding their internet providers accountable for that. Up next, late buses. Public transit is a really great system when it works, but when it doesn't, and I'm not talking about bad weather, but sometimes the buses are early and you miss them because they just drive right by you. Sometimes they're late. Sometimes they don't show up at all. And there's really nothing you can do. You can complain to the transportation service, but there's no recourse. You're not going to get compensated by the fact that you were late. And this is a service that you're paying for. I understand that these things happen. I feel like the system could be better. And it could always be better, but there has to be a way for at least to have, maybe if the bus stops were interactive, they had a little screen or something that said, listen, a bus isn't coming. I know a lot of transport systems like trains and subways have that, but there's not that kind of thing for buses because it'd be really hard to do. But I still think that doesn't mean that it's not worth doing. There are a lot of people that could be seriously inconvenienced by not having a bus show up or by missing it because it was either early or late. There are smartphone apps that will actually give you the GPS of buses, but not everyone has a smartphone. So there's got to be a way to get past that. Up next, this is pretty much universal. Any time a company needs to come to your house or to your apartment or wherever you live, it's terrible. This happens with shipping companies. This happens with things like appliance companies when you need something fixed. It happens, again, with internet and cable companies. They have to come in and hook something up. Basically, every time this happens, they give you a 2 or 3 hour window, sometimes up to 8-hour window, where you just have to sit there. And in some cases, you have to take a day off work. Like, if you're having a small package delivered, you can have it delivered to work, and then it doesn't matter because there's sort of someone there all the time. But if you're at home, you can't just sit around all day. But there's no system that tells you, even if they give you a 2 to 3 hour window up until the day of, and then the day of, they say, oh, you're third in line, and they could let you know when the guy's finishing up with whoever's second in line. Like, you could just, you could definitely have an app or a website with a system of notifications to let people know when someone's coming to your house, because I spent the better part of a day, almost an entire day, waiting for a package on Tuesday, and it was horrible. It was literally the worst experience, and this doesn't just happen with UPS in this case, but it happens with every shipping company, every company I've ever dealt with. Not a lot of people have gotten this right. So yeah, I just think that it wouldn't be that hard to create a web service or an app that would notify people. If there's a delay, notify them. Like, just don't leave them hanging for several hours with not knowing what's going to happen. Up next, this is a huge sore spot of mine, and I'm actually going to be making another video on another YouTube channel of mine about this sometime in the future. I don't know exactly when, but at some point. Internet data caps. I really, really hate them. The world is marching steadily into the future. Mobile companies like Google and Apple and Microsoft are trying to push the internet forward. And they're basically trying to make everything connect to the internet. So your washer and dryer, your stove, your heat and cool system, they would all connect to the internet, and you'd be able to monitor them and access settings for them from anywhere. And that's a really cool future, and one that I want to live in. But my current internet cap is 150 gigabytes, which I mean, it is a lot for most people, but I make videos all the time and I'm uploading them. I stream all my music, so I'm literally downloading all the time. I like to, I am downloading beta updates for my computer and my phones all the time. I could very easily go through 150 gigabytes in like a week or two, and it doesn't have to be, it's not super expensive for internet companies and phone companies to give you lots of data. They're definitely gouging us when they charge such ridiculous amounts that they do for such small amounts of data. And you can tell this. Sasktel in Saskatchewan just announced unlimited smartphone data plans. They're one of the companies that is actually really good about this kind of stuff, and they're forcing Rogers and Bell and TELUS to compete with them in Saskatchewan, and there are other companies doing it in Manitoba as well. But prices there have gone down and plans have gotten a lot better. So it's definitely possible, but because there's very little competition, they don't have any reason to lower their prices, Rogers and Bell and TELUS. Another thing that's sort of weird about this has to do with fast food and restaurants. Portion sizes keep on getting bigger. Drinks especially just are huge these days. You can buy literally 1 liter drink, fountain drink at McDonald's, and it's just considered the large size. Like, that's all so much sugar and it's so much pop. But even things like the medium and small are getting a lot bigger. Burgers are getting bigger, amounts of fries are getting bigger. Every portion at any restaurant you eat at is getting bigger, and they're charging you a lot more for it. So prices are going up because they're giving you more food, but humans don't need that much food. We can get by on the portion sizes. Nobody was suffering going to restaurants and fast food with smaller portion sizes. Back when a meal cost $8 or $10, now they cost $15. And we're getting more food, but it's really not worth it. That just annoys me. Another big one, and this is something that, again, I should make a video just on it, corruption in politics, and specifically relating to lobbying and tax laws. I don't really want to get too far into this, but man, it is really annoying how corrupt politics is. People basically, their only goal is to stay in office. If they get elected, which is really hard to do and costs a lot of money to do, they spend all their money and all their time campaigning just to stay in office. And that really makes for a horrible system because nobody actually tries to get things done for the good of the people. They're being selfish and they're trying to do things for the good of themselves. One really good example of this, or a good example of not corrupt government, is in Australia. Australia had, it was maybe almost a decade ago now, they had a huge shooting go down, like something that happens in the US every day. It happened in Australia one time, and one politician basically sacrificed himself. He said, no, we need to get rid of guns. So they got rid of millions of guns. They literally paid people to give their guns to the government and not have them. And what happened? Crime went down a ridiculous amount. Like, crime is super, super low in Australia, and gun violence is also super low. And this is all because it's one politician. This politician did not get reelected, but he's come out and said, guys, politics isn't about staying in office. Politics is about doing things for the good of the people. And that's what he did. He basically sacrificed his career, his political career, but he saved countless lives and countless horrible, horrific damage. And this is something that the US should definitely learn from. But I don't see it happening unless there's a huge amount of reform in corruption, in tax law, in campaign finance, and in lobbying money. So yeah, that's it. Those are the few things that I'm outraged about, and that I think that more people shouldn't just let slide. We should actually address them. You should get involved, get interested, and don't let companies, corporations, and politicians get away with this kind of stuff. I got some bad news last week. Turns out I'm currently unemployed. I'm keeping my hopes up though. I've got my resumes going out and I've got an interview next week, so hopefully things turn around again. I wanted to talk about a couple of initiatives that I had as well before I go. Things I want to be working on over the summer and hopefully into I guess it's not a new school year, but into September and the fall. I wanted to start writing in my blog, Living in the Future. I wanted to start writing about some of the ideas I have. Every once in a while, and it's usually pretty often, some random idea for either a product that doesn't exist yet or some way to make an existing product or service a lot better comes to my mind, and I just sort of think about it for a while, 10 minutes, and then I forget about it. I want to start writing these things down. I need to start not just letting my thoughts go to waste. So what I want to do is for the next month, let's say 30 days or so, I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to start, but 30 days from when I do start, just write down an idea a day and publish it. And just, it may be a paragraph, it might be a whole couple pages, it all depends. But yeah, an idea a day, I'm going to start writing that down. The other project that I'm working on, and this sort of goes hand in hand with my list of outrages, is on my YouTube channel, Future Chat. I have a YouTube playlist all ready to go called Future Rants, and so basically when it comes to stuff like the internet, cable, delivery, there's all these kinds of things. It's 2014, and I know that everyone says this, but life should be better, and life can be better, and the internet can definitely help us do that. So I want to sort of start off with the items that I've already listed, go into a lot more detail with them. Basically, I'm hoping to do sort of Rick Mercer style rant, where I just give sort of a few figures, some background information on why I think a particular technical or internet-based issue is bad, explain what's happening, maybe some news-related story has happened, and then discuss how I think we can fix it and why it's so bad. And yeah, so that, I don't know exactly when that's going to start either, because I've kind of got a lot going on, especially now that I'm looking for a job. But that's another project that I'm really interested to start, and keep going with it. Anyways, that's it. Hope you enjoyed hearing my outrages. I'll see you next week. Love you.